So today I'm going to be upcycling a cardboard box. Now this particular box was actually my husband's Christmas present. One of them come in this box, and when I saw it I immediately knew I wanted to recycle it into something beautiful. So I used masking tape just to cover the entire box all around the edges to connect the back to the front of the box. Any box would do, a cereal box, any box that you have. So I'm taking masking tape and just creating texture as the first layer and layering upon layering of the masking tape. I'm going to use my Liquitex gel fluid medium here to just make sure that there is good adhesion from the tape. You know, sometimes the masking tape actually won't stick all that well, so I wanted to make sure, taking of course notice to all of the edges and making sure that those are stuck down well. I'm not really too careful as far as making sure rips and ripples are you know, there. I don't really care. It's going to create additional dimension and texture to the finishing piece. So now I'm going back with my gesso and a paintbrush. You could also use a credit card or a scraping tool, catalyst tool that you could scrape there. I'm going back and also doing the sides as well, making sure that you dry in between. I'm showing you the colors that I'm going to be using here. So for this particular piece, this is the piece that I created for the CSA hashtag, all about spring arts. So I'll make sure that I'll link the description as well as the hashtag below. But when I think about spring, I think about all of the beautiful colors, all of the greens and blues of the sky. I live at the beach, and so you know, it's always just beautiful to be able to watch all of the spring colors and different flowers actually bloom. So I took the actual CSA hashtag spring and incorporated that. I'm using some Adirondack spray inks here in a green color, and I'm also using here my Deco Arts media mist here. And I'm going in with some yellow. As you know, it's one of my favorite color palettes. I just wanted to create the yellow to highlight the blues and the greens, as well as the purple. But also yellow reminds me of sunshine. I'm finger painting the entire piece here. No real brushes are used. And going in, just kind of looking at the piece and creating a nice balance between the yellows and rotating. As I work, I tend to rotate most pieces. Not sure what will be the top and the end at the end result. Using several different hues along with white to be able to create different variations of the shade. So just if you don't have a whole lot of paint, remember you can mix colors to come up with, you know, the colors that you would like. Just using the tools that God gave me, my hands, which is one of my favorite things to actually use when I paint, and making sure that I'm drying in between there. Now what I'm going to be using is a hot glue stencil. If you haven't seen my hot glue stencil video, I will make sure to link it up right in the right hand corner. I made this stencil, had never used the stencil, but I thought when I thought about the actual hashtag event with spring that I wanted to incorporate some type of floral. However, I didn't want it to just be another video painting flowers. So I decided to use my hot glue stencil as an actual dimensional element. If you haven't seen my cardboard journal that features a hot glue stencil, I'll make sure to link that in the video above as well. But that particular one is the one that gave me the idea to actually use my stencils not as just stencils, but actually three-dimensional elements. And that's what I'm doing here, is painting the flower with gesso, painting the flower with different shades of purple that I have there that I had used on the background. Using some yellow to go in the center of the flower there. And this is not necessarily a particular floral species that I was trying to achieve. It was just a random flower that I made with the stencil. And I'm going in with some umber to actually create a little bit of depth in the center there. And I decided that I wanted to use maybe some of the circles that I had on my desk from a previous project using vintage music sheets. So I'm featuring Donna Downey's I'm an Artist stencil. She had a sale recently, and I took advantage of that and got this stencil. I'm using the molding paste. I can't even remember if it's molding paste or modeling paste, but you know what I mean. You could also use here, if you don't have that, you could also use a thick, like heavy gel medium, or even a heavy, thick gesso that would give you the dimension. And here I'm going to use a stamp. This stamp, I believe, is from Viva Las Vegas Stamp Company. And I'm using it, I just like the random circles on there. I'm using my StazOn ink. I wanted a little bit more depth to the petals, and so I'm using my StazOn ink just to go back and kind of create a little more color and a little, I guess, depth in the petals, since I am using the stencil. And here I'm looking again as far as placement is concerned with the music, and as well as the how I want it to be. And I decided I wanted to add a little bit more stamping, so I'm doing that now with the black, giving it a nice contrast there. And I'm going back with a little bit of whites, because you know gesso is my friend, and I always go and kind of tinker with it. And then I'm going to go ahead and adhere that music piece down excuse me, with gel medium, fluid matte medium, just to make sure that it stuck well. Now I'm using my heavy gel medium to kind of glue the petal of the flowers and stuff down. I believe this step could have been avoided, because later on you see it click where I'm like, hey, this is glue, Tiffany. If you heat it up, it'll stick. So going forward, you know, just make sure you remember that this, if you use hot glue, that it will actually reactivate with your heating tool if you have one, or maybe even a blow dryer if it gets hot enough. I'm not sure, but I use it to actually make sure it's good and secure on the box as well. I'm going back here and using the fluid matte medium along with the purple to create a glaze. I don't actually have glazing medium, and I just wanted to kind of see and explore and see if this works. I used this on my art journal page that I did for the last CSA. I'll link that above as well if you want to check that out. And it doesn't work exactly like that, but I wanted to just kind of make the I'm an artist pop out a little bit more. And so I'm going to go back here with the same colors that I had already used, and also using the purple to make the actual flower petal stand out. And now I'm going to go back here with some of the colors I already used in the background. And go back. I'm still not real 100% sure what I'm going to end up doing with the I am an artist at the bottom, because it didn't turn out 100%. I mean, I like it, but I don't think at this point it doesn't really stand out the way that I had hoped it would. So I'm going to tinker here for a minute, and I'm thinking about cutting off those petals that are sticking out. I just kind of have to play with the idea. So I decide to go in with a little more of the umber color in the middle, and then go around to the petals with the Stabilo all to create a shadow effect of the petals. Activating, of course, the Stabilo all with water. And here I'm just kind of looking to see what I think about it. I'm going back now with the ink pad on the bottom, and it's just picking up on the raised area. And now I'm beginning to think, oh, this is good. So I go around the edges just to kind of capture. You kind of get the effect of that tape now that we're going around it. And I like the way that looks around the edges. I'm going back with my American Craft Precision pen. I purchased those at Tuesday Morning. That is a store that we have here in the U.S. I'm not sure where. We have several of them down south. So, and then I go all around it. Then I go back with a little bit of the white Stays On ink, and just making sure that it has a good outline on it. Cleaning off as you go along, because you know ink pens, if the acrylic is not completely dry, whenever you go around it, sometimes it'll clog your pen up or make them stop writing. So I'm just showing you the details, and I feel very good about it at this point. And I think I'm going to call it quits here, except for I have to glue down the petals. So I take my hot glue gun, and I take my heat tool, and that's when it hits me. This was kind of hard to catch on camera, so I'm using a chopstick and rolling that hot glue